And in order to change ourselves and the world for the better, we must realize the thing itself. We must recognize that there is an invisible essence of life, that there is this ultimate stuff from which all things were brought into form. We must realize that there is a power for good in the universe and that we can use it. We can use it. Just as there is a law of gravity which keeps our feet planted firmly on the ground and keeps everything nice and close to the earth so we may experience life as we know it, just as there is the law of mathematics that always produces the same result, the thing itself works as a principle, as a universal spiritual law which is always producing results. Always producing results. And the more we recognize that this is the way that nature works, that God works, the more we can become conscious and realize that we can direct the use of the law, that we can consciously create. And we begin to realize that what we draw, what we get from life, is exactly what we think into it. Exactly what we think into it. And so we can awaken to this truth. We can awaken to know that we can use the law consciously, that we don't have to be at the effect of what has happened to us in the past and what we're thinking subconsciously and under our conscious thought, because we can realize that we can direct and consciously use the law to create our life for good. Ernest Holmes says that the law of our life reacts to our spiritual and material perceptions of it, and it builds and rebuilds itself according to our beliefs and faith. So as I'm talking, I want you to be thinking about your life, about every aspect of your life, about your health, about your mental state, about your finances, your career, if you're happy or not. I'm sure that there are areas in your life where life is going great. Life is fantastic. And yet there are probably areas of your life where it could be better, where you could grow, where you could expand and be able to see more good, more of the divine nature in that aspect of life. And this is where we can begin to look at our thoughts and perceptions, how we are viewing our reality of life. Because as we begin to shift and change our perceptions and our thoughts, the outside world and life begins to shift and shape to reflect what's happening on the inside. And we begin to awaken that life is not mandated by the experiences we have, but rather by the perceptions of the experiences we create. In other words, life is not lived from the outside in, but rather is a reflection for what's happening within us, outside of us. And this is the great awakening. This is the great discovery that the power we seek is within us, that the love we seek is within us, that which we seek is already within us, and we can begin to consciously think into this law what it is that we want, and recognize that our thoughts are our sum totals of our convictions, our beliefs, our emotions, our impulses, our nature. And as we become more and more aware of what our thinking is and what goes into our thinking, we can begin to shift the way we look at things. And as Wayne Dyer says, the things we look at begin to change. And that's what we can build upon by discovering, by realizing that there is a divine nature to all of life, and that there is this divine nature, which I call love itself, is always bringing itself into form through this universal spiritual law that is always producing results. And even if we are ignorant that this law exists, it excuses no one. Results are already being produced, always being produced, being produced. And we have the power to consciously direct and use this law for good in our lives and in the lives of others. In this chapter, there is a very powerful quote I'd like to share from Ernest Holmes. God is always God. No matter what our emotional storm or our objective situation may be, there is always a something hidden in the inner being that has never been violated. We may stumble, but always there is that eternal voice, forever whispering within our ear, that thing which causes us the eternal quest, that thing that which forever sings and sings. There is the thing itself. It is imbued itself in and through and as all of its creation. It is within us, always and forever. And so as we begin this new year, we may be at the very beginning, or we may be far down the path in our spiritual nature. I invite you and challenge you to expand your experience of the divine in your life, to be able to see the divine nature, the thing itself, in greater ways in your life. And that may mean recognizing the smile of a stranger as the divine nature within that person, smiling at the divine nature within you. That may be expanding this concept of divine nature into that which you cannot see the divine, where the divine may be hidden. To recognize and realize that all our thought is creative. And so to be aware of what it is that you're creating this week, what it is that you're thinking into the law. Are you offering the law thoughts of expansion? Are you using it to free yourself into possibilities, or to bind yourself in limitations? You know, the thing itself, it is infinite in nature, and we are free to choose, always. Just look around. There are an infinite amount of choices being made, some of them for the highest good, for all concerned, and some of them not. But as we awaken, as we become aware of our divine nature, we can become conscious of how we use it, of how we're bringing good into this world, of how we're sharing good in our lives. We can begin to use it to see that we are good already. We are divine. That there is a power in the universe, and that power exists right within us. And we can use it. and we use it through the way we perceive, through the way we believe, through the way we think, and all of that. So let's awaken. Awaken to this truth. Awaken to the power within us. Awaken to the realization that we can continually create more and more good in our lives and in the world. Remember that God is always God. So let's go forth. Remember this truth and bring good in our lives and into the world. And know that we are truly blessed and we are an active blessing. So let us know the thing itself in greater ways than ever known before, and see the universal good at work in our lives and in the world. Namaste.